Hey folks, it is the Nutty Knife Guy. A little late on this week's video. Consistency is becoming a real problem. And it's only going to get worse because I'm probably going to go back to school at the end of October. But I am here today. It is Thursday, the 22nd. Hopefully I will get another video in on Sunday. But the place should be relatively quiet. You might hear a cricket in the background. I have been just trying to destroy this cricket for days. I cannot find him. I've just unloaded like half a can of bug spray in the general direction that I hear him from. And he's silent now. Perhaps. Okay. What I bring you today is the Tops Dawn Warrior. And while I'm talking, I am going to call up the specs for said knife. And while that's loading, I will show you. I really like the lines of this knife. It's a kind of a classic field/fighting knife. Yeah, I would kind of call this a combat utility knife. Dawn Warrior, so there's definitely a warrior aspect. But it's got a really nice shape for bushcraft as well. I haven't posted this yet. I haven't posted this yet. But I have carried it quite a bit. I've had it for a couple of weeks now. I have carried it quite a bit, and I love it so far. And Tops' reputation, I would be surprised if it doesn't pass the war post. The most immediate thing that I found out about this knife when I got it out is the grips are fantastic. This is canvas micarta, I believe, or micarta. I'll tell you in a minute. Excuse me, I also am having some problems with belching, and I don't edit that stuff out, so have a good laugh or be disgusted. I don't know. Very attractive handle. I like the slight contrast between the gray and the black on the blade and the handle. I paid $152 for this on Smoky Mountain Knife Works. Their MSRP here on the website is $200. Okay, call it the specs. What we have here is 9.75 inches overall, 5.5 inch blade. Cutting edge is 4.25 inches because it's got this choil here, and we'll talk about that. Blade thickness is 0.19 inches. They call it a hunter's point shaped blade. It is 1095 steel with an RC of 58, from 56 to 58. It's got black traction coating. The handle is black linen micarta. Excuse me, micarta. Doug Micarta. We make handles out of Kali Masters now. No. Black linen micarta. And the weight is 9.4 ounces. The one thing I noticed about this, it felt good almost immediately. It felt really good when I got up and started moving with it. So that's a good thing. It's got these nice white spacers that are attractive and functional. It has the jimping. It's got a jimp thumb wrap here, jimping here, and jimping back here. And that jimping is in a spot where, in reverse grip, that jimping comes in and gives purchase to the back part of your palm here. It's not uncomfortable to cap the knife in reverse grip with your thumb, to cap it with your thumb, but it's not comfortable either. My next review will probably be the QB Sarcot. I cannot speak today. The QB Sicario, which is a very similar knife in shape and function, but it is very comfortable to cap in a reverse grip. The choil here is a little different. It's kind of shaped funny. It's not completely symmetrical, but it does fit the hand very well. And when you use the jimping ramp on the ramp, or here, especially, you can get really good control for fine work. So far, I'm liking the blade. The sheath is also quite nice. It's a pretty basic Kydex sheath, but it's very thick and very sturdy. It does have a drainage hole. What I really like about this is the way the clip's attached. This is adjustable. It's a little bit hard to turn, but it's meant to be. It's held in a given position by friction, but it is adjustable, so you can carry it horizontally, vertically, whatever angle you want. And the way Tops did this is the way they should all be done. I've had a lot of knives with sheaths that are supposed to be with an adjustable cant like this. You know, I'll just show you how that works again. This is just all just friction. There's no little cogs. There's no slots to click into or anything like that. It's just very tight, and it has an O-ring that they tell you not to mess with in the instructions that come with the knife. I've worn this around. It doesn't move. I've had knives that have like the cogs that you can turn, or they've got little slots or something like that, or screws that you tighten, and they've never worked, especially the cogs. The cogs fail in hours if you actually try to use them. Sog, I'm talking about you. This is the way to do an adjustable cant clip, and it will fit most belts unless you have something really thick. And even then, it's got enough give with a little friction, it'll be fine. Very nice retention. Here comes one of my favorite sounds in the whole world, the Kydex click. Yes. It did come quite sharp. I don't want to cut that up because I got to show that to you. So we will just find a piece of paper to cut. A label off one of my prescriptions will do nicely. Alright, so it's sailing through that, folks. It's just no sharpening, not even a strop, and I have used this a bit. The jimping is where in all the right places. It is deep enough to be effective, but not sharp enough to hold to hurt the thumb. The design is really nice. The sheath is fantastic, and I really can't wait to see how it performs on the war post. Because I think it's going to do very well. Now, it's got a lanyard thing here. I don't use lanyards. At least I think I have 2 knives over the great big huge ones that might fly out of my hand and kill the neighbor's cat that I use a lanyard with. But other than that, it's not I don't use them. But it does have the lanyard slot instead of the lanyard hole. If I have to have a lanyard, I'd rather have the slot. But yeah, very little to criticize about this knife. The only nitpick thing I have is I can't really comfortably get all four fingers on the grip on the draw. Really, 3 fingers are where it's at, and then my other finger, this finger, hits a little bit of the sheath. And I really like being able to come out of the sheath with a full grip. Now, I can almost do that, and like I said, that's a nitpick, but I try to be thorough in my reviews. Other than that, it's a really great knife. Now, the next review I do, and I'm not going to tell you when that's going to be because chaos, universe, you know, the whole 9 yards. If my life ever became unchaotic, I would probably be dead. But but I think I'm going to do a comparison with this and the Sicario. They are very similar in form and function. But like I said, any criticism I have is like the nitpicks. It's not even really criticism. This is great stuff. But I also, spoiler alert, I feel that way about the Sicario so far. So we will see what we can do. And I'm probably, when I do this comparison, it might be a long video because I want to do that Ethan Grow 123 again, because I want to do the bottle cut test with that, because the way that thing performed on the bottle cut test bugs me no end. So we're going to go do the drop test and then out to the war post, and I will see you there. Now I'm going to just kind of carry the camera over and try to do the drop test with the camera in my hand to just kind of save time, because my mount right now, the mount that I have for my tripod doesn't want to angle down so I can do the drop test. So we're going to try and do that with the camera in my hand, and then go out to the war post and play with this thing a little bit. Here we go. Oh, you're flying. Okay. You're about to hear some old man noises as I get out of my chair. Here you can get a brief tour of the fixed blades that I carry on a regular basis. Okay. You're going to see an edit there because somehow or other the camera stopped filming as I was walking over here. Because here it comes, folks. The universe hates me. Or the camera hates me. Or possibly they both hate me and they're conspiring. But anyway, first 4-foot drop. There's a nice drop. And picking up the chair one more time. Comes down nice and straight. Good bounce. Make sure I got all three of the. I got at least some of those on camera, since I'm doing this handheld. Okay, and we'll do some stabbing. You can hear that being pried. And you didn't see that one though. There we go. Make sure you see at least a couple of them. Trying to hit the chair and keep the camera on the chair is evidently beyond my abilities of coordination, or close to it. We'll do some downward throws. A little force behind that, and there is bite. Okay, so much for that. The tip held up quite nicely. Okay, let's put this Dawn Warrior to the test. By the way, no tip damage, just a little bit of residual like wood off the chair on the blade, which I will clean off later. Let's see how she does. Camera angle is going to be a little bit different. I've got it kind of back towards the house a little more, give it a little shine, little protection from the wind. We're getting some gusts, so okay. I am definitely going. No, that actually went through. I gotta maybe a different. I gotta stop trying to get through the handles on these things, I guess. Let's try down here. Okay, yeah. That handle was really thick and it still got through it, but that was a nice clean cut. And pretty much where I wanted it. And That point was sharp enough where the water was almost completely drained out, and I still got some pretty decent penetration. The micarta is wet and it doesn't feel slippery so far, and there's even a little soap left in here, so let's see how this works. Oh, I'm not out here enough. I missed twice. Three times now. You can see the chips flying off of this thing, and very little shock in the hand. Even the jimping, you don't feel the jimping feeling in the tummy when you're bouncing it off of this thing. Very impressive. Okay, let's do some hard wax. Okay, I want you to look at that. I don't know if you can see it, but I took a nice piece right down through here, shaved a piece off of this thing. Now on the hard wax, I'm not feeling it. I am feeling it in my thumb a bit, but not nearly as bad as some knives. Okay. Do a little sewing machine action here. Okay, now let's check this out. I don't know if that's gunk or some of the coating came off. Okay, this still might be gunk, but right now it did look like I lost a little of the black coating, which is not a huge deal, but right here is where I'm talking about. See if I can get that in some light so you can see it. I'm kind of trying to beat a thunderstorm that's rolling in here. Can you see that, or can you not see that? Well, anyway, it looks like there might be somewhere I lost some of the coating, but I'll have to get some Windex in there and see if that just comes off to be really sure. Now in this light, I think you can see the contrast in the nice gray handles and the black. I'll see if I can get more light on it downstairs again. We're going to do a vampire deterrent first though. Or at least show that it can do a vampire deterrent. And this wood is not ideal for the test, but it's what I have. Okay. Once you get an angle on it, I think it'll feather stick. Like I said, this wood's been through the ringer in the weather. Not the best feather sticker I've ever had, for sure. Yeah, it's got a steep blade angle for that kind of work. Let's see if now if you use this and choke up on the choil, it changes a bit. But and like I said, this wood is almost beyond redemption now. But you can feather stick with it. If I played with it there, I'm getting some decent curls now. And this wood has been dried and then damp and dried again. But if you mess with it and found the right angle, you shouldn't be a problem. Not the best thing in the world, but you can make it work. And now for actually carving, we'll see about that. You do have to be careful. This point where this choil comes in here, if you got chubby little fingers like mine, that could be, you feel that in there. The angle on this thing for carving, the grind angle on this thing for carving is definitely not ideal. But as you can see, it can be made to work. And it's actually getting better as I do it, because I think I'm getting a feel for that angle, that grind angle. So let me try some feather sticking now that I have that little bit of experience. Yeah, I'm sliding off of this blade quite a bit because I've used this wood forever. There. But yeah, it's just got a really steep grind angle. But with a little practice, I think you would be fine with feather sticking. And brother, if I don't get in the house pretty soon, I am going to get wet. So I'm going in the house. Here's a Kydex click again. Okay, so it has passed the war post. Here I will show you that there is no edge or tip damage. And I am going to reach over to my art supply table here and get a little no odor paint thinner and see if I can get that grime off of there with it, or if it's grime, or if I did actually lose some coating. Now, losing coating isn't a real big thing to me. If it turns out that that's what it is, and that's what it is. Well, maybe not. Okay. Polish it up on my knee here a bit. Okay, yeah, that was just some kind of residual stuff that was left over from what I was cutting. So, the finish is all held up. And since I got the paint thinner on it, I'll just use that to clean her up a bit. Now, we'll see how the edge held up. The edge is fine. This is my first tops knife. It will not be my last. Worth every penny, made in the USA. Simple elegance. Its simple elegance gives it beauty. I really like this thing. Now, I'll show you the bottle, and I just dumped the rest of the water that was in there on the floor, and partially on me. But that first cut went through this really thick section right here where the handle joints the rest of the bottle, and that is nice and thick, but you can see, I think, let me put the knife down a minute. You can see that it actually cut quite nicely on that first cut. Now, I deliberately aimed for a thinner part of the bottle the next time, so we're down here where it's probably at its thinnest, and you can see that cut. And here, even though most of the water was leaked out, so there was a lot of give when it was swinging, the point was still sharp enough that I got a good bit of penetration and then was able to do the rip. So, as a personal protection knife, the warrior part of the dawn, I guess, this has no problems. So, the only two things about this knife that I think people should need to know is that if you are using it for personal protection knife and you like to use the reverse grip, you can cap it. It's not uncomfortable, but it's not comfortable. And also, I noticed that when I was using this choil, my fat stubby fingers were getting jabbed by where the edge comes into the choil. That might not be a problem for everyone. As a matter of fact, it broke skin a little bit. Okay? So if you got big hands like mine, or at least medium-sized hands, and chubby fingers that swing swords and axes and knives around all the time, this could be a problem. Now, you could solve that with a file and just round that down, and then it wouldn't hurt the knife really at all. But be aware of it. I don't know if the choil was even meant to be used. It might just have intended to be a sharpening choil, but be aware of that. Other than that, this thing absolutely friggin' rocks. It's going to stay in my EDC rotation, and I'll probably play with this one a lot. Like I said, what I have here are nitpicks. And this problem, if you've got fingers that aren't as thick as mine, might not be a problem at all. Yeah, that actually did break the skin a bit, so be aware. But the design is actually really, really good. There are so many knife designers out there that don't really think through their designs. They want something that'll look good. And I'm talking about some of the big names. You pay a lot of money for a knife and it's made out of the fantastic materials and all that stuff. But I've talked about this before. Sometimes I just don't think anybody took a prototype of a knife and put it in their hand and say, does this feel good? They just ask that question. There's a few knives in my collection that I could say that about. I got to do a whole video on that. You know, knives are made from great stuff that are great quality but poorly designed. That'd be an idea for a video. What do you think? But this one is well designed. Has a couple of problems in my opinion, but they're minor problems. And if you're aware that those design features, they won't be problems. There, I got it in good light, and you can see that nice contrast of the gray and the black. But yeah, I mean, and another thing I like about this is they don't go for a whole lot of gaudy branding. They've got Dawn Warrior on the blade. They've got the Tops logo. And on the other hand, made in USA. They're not like some companies that have to have their name stenciled across the knife, the entire length of the knife, where your knife becomes a billboard for their company. Solved. I'm talking about you again. It uglies up the knife. I have been in stores and held knives that felt fantastic, that were good, well made and everything like that, but they uglied them up with a bunch of branding and I didn't buy them. They didn't do that with this one. So yeah, the sheath is outstanding. The clip is very well designed, and retention is great. No rattle at all. Great stuff. And honestly, if you're any kind of an outdoorsman but it's not really into knives themselves, they're tools for your other hobby, whatever it is, hunting or just hiking or trapping or everything like that. In my opinion, if you're going to have one knife to take with you, this would be a good one. If you needed to defend yourself against Blizzardman zombie ninjas or hostile wildlife, this would work. Get used to that grind angle. It'd be alright for light to medium bushcrafting. Excellent camp knife. Yeah. This meets with my approval. It has the Nutty Knife Guy's seal of approval. If I had a seal of approval, which I don't. Maybe I should get one. Anyway. Oh, and before I leave, I do want to mention Scab over at Choir Boys Cutlery and Outdoors just hit 10,000 subscribers. Congratulations, Scab, you the man. And also, Donnie B all day hit a milestone, and big shout out to him. I've talked about him before. Big help to my channel. He needs some congratulations on this too. And with that, I leave you with my usual admonishment too. Draw your knives only in just purpose. Sheathe them only with honor. Got to do that trick again. I just can't do that like. There we go. And to remember that without knives, life would be dull and pointless. Please like, share, and subscribe if you have a mind. It helps the channel. It feeds the almighty YouTube algorithm. Oh, hail the algorithm. And it will help me grow. I don't know when my next video is going to be. I'm not going to make any promises, but if I do it, if I have the weather and the time to do a test, it will be the Kubi Sicario. And I've got a couple of like technical videos, I guess you could call them, in my knife fight and knife philosophy, except one has really nothing to do with knives. But those are coming, and I bid you goodbye.